Yo, what is up? We are back. Little hiatus from the player prop streams, but we're back. The internet is fixed. Want to just shout that out while I'm still knocking on wood. Shout out to the Spectrum guy that came out. But today we've got what do we got? A four game slate today. Just a couple after a big slate yesterday, but some pretty interesting games. So I'll try to pull up. I know some of these spreads aren't reading, so I want to. Oh, you guys gotta. Let me pull this up. But just from an injury standpoint, while we're pulling that up, for Mavs, Wizards, biggest injuries are going to be Christian Wood on the Mavs side. He didn't play the previous game either. Bradley Beal is out, and Porzingis has a groin injury that he is questionable with. So there's a pretty real possibility it's no Beal and no Porzingis tonight. That's one that you definitely want to monitor, and I don't know if we'll see a ton of lines initially with that news potentially, but we can take a look at that game first. Do you have the spreads up? I can pull them up. They're just not.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I can pull them up here.
And I know some of these might not be up because we're still waiting on some injury stuff, but
No, I'll grab them here.
Cool. All right, we can get right into. Oh, do you have it?
2 seconds. I will. It won't be DraftKings lines. This will be FanDuel's lines though. But
yeah,
yeah, I've got it here. So we've got first game, Mavericks Wizard. We've got Mavs a 5-point favorite away at Washington with a total of 209.
And it was, while we're pulling up these points, I think we probably, I think on underdog, we're really only going to see, let's do this. We're really only going to see, lines for the Dallas guys, right? Because obviously still waiting on some KP injury. We're not really seeing lines on books for the other guys. And Kuz actually doesn't have a line either. He's probably pretty impacted, obviously, but he's up here. But I guess we'll just look at Dallas specifically. Luka coming off not the greatest Luka game, but the volume's still there. What do you have? 24, 6 and 6 last game, and that was a bad Luka game. Yeah, but I mean he's got that 33.5. Do you like Luka somewhere tonight? Is it a peripheral? Is that 33.5? Do you still like it just in this game?
Yeah, it's okay. I think I prefer peripherals like a rebounds or assists lines. Washington, not the greatest defensive team at the guard spot, but not awful. No Beal for a little bit, so we'll probably be seeing Monty Morris, Will Bart. We'll probably see a lot of defenders on Luka, a lot of different people. They won't be just sinking one person on him. It's still at 33.5, right? Like, it's such a high line. Again, I'm not gonna go under or anything on it, but we saw that he is human last night or 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
And so, he can have a great game, have 30 and be fine. This also could be on blowout watch. So I think I'm gonna go more like rebounds in this one. I think the guards that Luka would be up against, as far as rebounds goes, I think he'll have the edge on KP. I guess like the rebounding, there's no like rebounding machines to me in this game, and Luka's gonna be at the glass defensively to kind of start the possessions. They like doing that with Luka. They like doing that like in the past. Russell Westbrook, he averaged triple doubles, like because they would crash the glass, they would grab the rebound, and they would start the offense. They wouldn't have to waste any time with finding the point guard, right?
Right.
So I like his rebounds. I like his assists. It's at 8 flat, I think. Is that correct?
8 flat is what I have rebounds at. Assists I have 7.5.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of like both of those. So pick your poison, I guess. I think I feel a lot safer about both of those over points when it comes.
I think so too. I think the one thing you would say about points though is like the volume is there. Obviously, like I feel like he's gonna have like the volume to be able to cover it. It's just one of those like we see in that 24, 6 and 6 game. If Luka doesn't shoot, solid, then it's going to be hard for him to get up to 34, you know? Like it's just such
yeah.
it's so like, it feels so corny to talk about players and be like, oh, it's a high line, can't go under. But honestly, I mean, that's just kind of, it's just hard to feel anywhere else about a Luka at a massive line in a game that's like, yeah, I mean, it's probably a good spot. But yeah, I don't hate. I mean, he's averaging 8 assists a season. This feels like where his line should be at. Like, I don't think it's like a super smash, but no, I mean,
Yeah, and another thing is in this game specifically, I think these are two of the bottom three teams in pace. So, and that's kind of reflected in the total. It's a 209 total. I think it will be probably a lower scoring game. Like, there's no like,
especially if you don't have Beal
down a little bit. Yeah.
If there's no Beal and Porzingis, those are two like higher pace players overall compared to like who else would be playing. I don't think it's like a massive fall off or anything, but
yeah. So I really don't love that 33.5 for Luka. What's Dinwiddie at? That would be more interesting to me. Dinwiddie versus like a Kispert matchup or whatever the worst defender is.
Din's at 4.5 assists. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, I'll pull up his points.
Because to me, it's like, I don't think there's any one guy that is going to be stuck to Luka, right?
17.
They'll probably throw a bunch of different looks on him, but at the end of the day, whoever they throw at Luka is going to be who they think is the best chance to stop him, right? And so then all of a sudden you have the second best chance on Dinwiddie, and I think Washington's second best guard defender is just not good. Whether that's Kispert or if they put Avdia down there or Morris or Barton or Johnny Davis, like there's not really a matchup that scares me for either of them. But I do think it'll be a slower paced game, which I mean does kind of cater to Luka because he likes to slow the game down a little bit. But for me, I mean, what Dinwiddie's at 17.5?
Yeah, 17.5.
I don't hate that. I think points wise in this game though, I'm not falling in love.
Oh yeah, we're not seeing any of the Wizards guys obviously with the injury news, so it probably would just be a Din from what we can see here. And I agree, I do like the Lucas peripherals if I was gonna pick one. Yo, what's up, Cam? Need some locks. It's been a rough patch. I feel you, man. NBA, man, it's back in like a positive and negative way. You do get some National Blowout Association games, but we've had some pretty decent close games.
Yeah. The nice thing about it is it's on pretty much every day, so you can get right back on the horse. And the bad thing about it is it's on every day, and so you get back on the horse.
I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the Wizard side. Obviously, we don't really have set lines, and there's just so heavily impacted by if KP is playing. Obviously, with even talking about guys like Kuz or the secondary guys. So we can kind of move on to this next game here, which we're looking at. Sixers, Hawks. Yo, what's up, Cam? Finally hit yesterday. It turned 200 into 4.2K from the Nets Knicks games. Nice. I assume you took a lot of... Dude, KD. What was KD? Like 29, 12, and 12 or something? Crazy in that game?
Or Edmund Sumner stock.
Yeah.
Or Randall even. Randall had a hot start. I think he had 15 in the first quarter. But yeah, this next game we're looking at Philly and Atlanta, right?
Yep, Philly, Atlanta. Big injuries, obviously. Harden's out. I mean, he's going to be out for a little bit here. And then on the Atlanta side, nothing too massive. I don't think Bogdanovich is going to play in this one from what I've seen, but obviously not huge impacts there.
Yep, this is
it's a nice pace-up spot
favorite for the Hawks. Hawks are 1 point home favorites, 222 total. Nice pace-up spot for Philly. I think Atlanta's like close to top 5 in pace, and Philly's down near the bottom. So I think that caters well to Maxey and Melton.
Yeah.
Maxey loves to run. Embiid back. I think I like Embiid. I like Melton. I like Maxey. I think I like Melton more. I think Melton could be a sneaky guy here. Didn't have the greatest shooting game, and was it 2 out of the last 3 games that they had? Let me double check. Let me fact check myself.
He's had the volume. I know. I mean, it hasn't been like super consistent, but it's been pretty nice even in his like poorer games. and that's just, I think, a nod to like the rotations that the Sixers can have in some of those games without Embiid, obviously, but without Harden, right? Because the kind of secondary guys you're going to have, like a Niang. Niang's had some pretty high volume games too, though. But
Okay. Yeah, 18 shots in the Knicks game, down to 7 shots in the Phoenix game, but Phoenix much better defensively and a lot lower scoring in that one. I like Melton to be closer to 10, 11 shots in this game. So a 12 and a half line for him. Pretty nice, honestly. What's his assist line?
Yeah, I want to check Maxey assist too. We've only gotten to see 2 Hardenless games for him, but look at these alternate lines fixed next time. I don't know why they're
Maxey's
showing
at
randomly now.
6 flat assists.
6 flat. Yeah, he's averaging, what did he, 6, he's got 6 and 7 are the 2 Hardenless games. It is a pretty nice spot. Let me pull something up real quick. What's Melton's at?
4. I like that a lot more. I think it's going to be...
You like that a lot more than Maxey?
I do. A lot more than Maxey, not necessarily. I like it. I feel better about it.
Yeah.
I like them both. I mean, again, this is going to be a high-paced game for Philly, so I like Melton and Maxey to be pushing the pace a little bit to match the speed.
Yeah.
Embiid might bring it down a little bit. So 4 assists in a game where the 76ers are, implied total of 111. It's not bad.
Yeah. I do think I think both are pretty good. I think when you look at Melton, it's like obviously, so we've seen 2 Hardenless games for these guys and 1 no Harden, no Embiid. Embiid had played in the last one, but I mean both of these lines are pretty good from what we've seen from them in those 2. I know Maxey was a 6 and then a 7 assist guy. Melton over the past 2. I know this last one specifically with Embiid only had 2 assists on 5 potential, but he had a lot more in the first game that Embiid did not play. I don't hate it. I think the nice thing about Maxey is like he just plays so much more of like he just has to play so much more like on ball point when Harden's not playing. And so you look at like some of these like peripheral stats. Like obviously I point to like I point to potential assists a lot, right? So like 13 in this last one with when Embiid did play, 13 potential to 6 actual, which is solid for those lines. But 88 passes made. Now he played 40 minutes, but like Maxey playing traditional point and having that kind of like assist potential, I do really like. But I like Melton too. I think they're both in good spots for that.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Hawks give up 5.4 assists. Was it 5.4? Yeah, 5.4 assists per game to the shooting guard position, one of the worst in the league. And looking at who they played, it's not like that's inflated by, any certain players. You got Jazz that you're looking at Jordan Clarkson or Sexton. You got Bucks, you're looking at like Grayson Allen. Pelicans, the Hawks, or not Hawks, Knicks. You're looking at like Fournier or I'm blanking. Sorry.
Yeah.
Raptors, Bucks again, Pistons. You're looking at Ivy, Hornet. Like, there's not really any shooting guards that are high. It's just the Trae Young effect. It's DeJounte Murray taking the point guard defensive, and Trae Young being on because DeJounte Murray should be on Mac.
Right. Yeah, and I know like we kind of have this back and forth of like, oh, is it going to be the better player? Typically it is, especially when size isn't an issue, right? Because Trae obviously smaller. So like a guy like Melton, who's, I think he's like the same height as Maxey. Like I think they're both like 6'2" guys. So it's not like you have any downsides to sleeping Trae on Melton versus Maxey. So I do think Murray will be on Maxey.
Yeah, and the 4 flat line is just like, I mean, a guy that's going to get probably 30 to 32 minutes in this game, a high-pace, higher-scoring game with horror defender on him. I don't know. I like 4 assists for Melton. I also like his 12.5 points. Maybe his PRA isn't a bad shout, but if you're kind of scared of that, I kind of like his assists just normally. But
yeah, I think the one thing, obviously, without Embiid. We saw like a huge volume game from Melton, and then
Right.
in that Suns game when Embiid was back, and you went from 18 shots to 7. I do think
Yeah.
he'll probably end up being somewhere in the middle, especially in this kind of pace up spot. But
Right.
I do think, I mean, obviously you can't deny like the impact of Embiid on like a potential PRA for a guy like that. But I still do kind of like him. I probably would lean overs across the board for Melton, and then I do like Maxey assists as well as Melton's.
Max at 6. Yeah, I like them both.
They're both pretty good. It's just like I know like the 6 flat line can be like kind of scary, right? Because you're talking about needing 7 for the cover. But it's just one of those, like, this game would not surprise me if it's over, and it's already a pretty good total, and it's supposed to be close. I mean, like, Hawks and going over decent totals is just like a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
But yeah, any of these other, so I guess going on to the Hawks side, I think it's kind of interesting looking at scoring specifically. So you look at kind of the points lines for a lot of these guys. I mean, Trey, who I know has been a little more inconsistent, it's hard to not like his line.
Yeah, I really like it.
He's at 25.5.
Mm-hmm. I'm not like Max. He's a scrappy guy. He's a good.
Yeah.
But Trae Young, Philly's given up the least amount of points at point guard position of it this year. Who have they?
It's just the thing with Trey for me is like it looks like he's been pretty inconsistent this season, but like his games where he's close to these lines. I mean, this Jazz game, 22 points, 10 for 28 from the field. 34 points in that Pelicans game, a ton of free throws, 9 for 26. 17 against the Knicks, 7 for 22. And then he had that Raptors game, and the Raptors kind of do that to people. So I tend to like kind of, I don't want to say ignore Raptors games, but Trey specifically has had a tough time with the Raptors. It's just such a nice line. Are you worried about the matchup at all?
Like it. No, I really like it.
It's just one of those, like, I compare it to other guys. I guess like Embiid, like I think maybe you would give the nod to Embiid. Like I wouldn't argue if you preferred Embiid to Trey specifically, but it's like Maxey 24 versus Trey 26. It's like two. I like Maxey a lot, and obviously he's had some pretty blow up games, but like 2 points for Trey. It is a nice pace up spot, but just like compared to some of these other lines, I just like prefer Trey for sure.
Yeah. Would you say it's better to mix and match your props from different games or try and script out one same game?
Yeah. I think it's, so obviously it's kind of like it's a little loaded question because there's a lot that goes into it, but I do think that for the most part, especially with these kind of player prop apps, it is very good to play plays from the same game if you think it's a similar positive situation, because a lot of the times when you like something, it is because you disagree with the Vegas lines as far as the total or the game overall. So like in a spot where I like, there to be more points than what Vegas is accounting for, usually that would mean I would like multiple things. But with that being said, in the NBA, there's so many different factors. So even in a game that does have a higher total, there are times where it's like, well, I love the spot for whatever, like Melton. I'm not saying I like this specifically, but like the process is kind of like there are matchups, pace up, pace down, that kind of impacts positively and negatively impact players. So I don't think it's like a for sure, oh, make sure you get all these things together, or like if you're playing some guy's assist, make sure you do, like if you're going to play Maxey assist, play Embiid points on top of it because those two are correlated. There's like a little bit of that, but for the most part, I don't try to script too much, but I do think it's something to consider. Yeah. I don't know. I think that was a long-winded answer of me not really saying anything, but I think you know what I'm saying. It's not really something I actively do, but a lot of the times I naturally do it because I like a game. We talk about games where we assume it's going to be over. The way that Vegas kind of builds out these lines is the total they set, and it's not going to calculate out perfectly because there's going to be a lot of secondary guys that are going to factor into that total. But for the most part, players' points are impacted by the totals, that the team totals.
Yeah.
Cool. And especially in games that aren't blowouts in the NBA, I think is really big, right? So like these games that are going to be closer and you like the over, those are like two factors that are pretty important for me as far as liking player props. Because the NBA can just kill you with a blowout. You just miss out on 6 minutes of a guy or something. All right, I had Trey up. Any of these other points lines that you're liking, or maybe some of these peripherals?
Yeah, what's Trey Young's assists?
Yeah, he's at 8.5.
Okay.
I I I I think I lean points.
Yeah, I like his points a lot. It's at what? It's at 25.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at 26.5 in some books too. I'm seeing right now. So if you can get that 25.5 on underdog, it's some really good value. I feel really good about that. 8.5 assists though too. I really like that as well. I'm not gonna lie to you. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Covered this in 7 out of the 10 games. 70% conversion.
Yeah, he's had a pretty high assist to potential. And I think that's a little more evident just because of like how the Hawks are playing ball, right? It's a different game. Like Trey will still do his on-ball Trey stuff, but there's a little less like every possession is Trey Young than there has been in the past when Murray's kind of doing what Murray does. And they don't play all the time together, but I think I lean points. I do think they're both pretty good, but I think I lean points just because I think it's such a good line for Trey.
Yeah, I would lean points too. I'm looking at rebounds here for Embiid in this game. Do they even have a line?
For who?
Embiid. They do, okay.
Points?
10.5 rebounds. 10.5 rebounds. I don't hate that. Pella and Kongwu.
Do you like Embiid points or PRA? It's just a pretty good spot for Embiid.
Yeah, what's his points at?
28.5.
Ooh. I don't love that. I feel better about Trey.
I do too. All right, Bean.
Why? Yeah, I feel better about Trey.
Maxi 2.5
rebounds. Embiid rebounds is very tempting though. Only needing what is it? What did I just say it was? 10.5. Only needing 11 boards. Yeah, 10.5. I do like that.
All right, I'm gonna ask you one quick question, then we can move on. Any part of you like Melton 2 flat threes, or is it just a little too sketch?
2 flat. Yeah, I'd rather go 4 flat assists to safer.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It's less variance.
Yeah, he's had pretty decent number. I mean, obviously he had a crazy usage game in that Knicks game where I think he was 3 for 11 from 3, and then 1 for 6 in this Suns game when Embiid was back. So not like a ton to like feel super confident about. And it's tough too because I think from a like scoring perspective, the Sixers, it would not shock you if it's just like randomly a Niang game or whatever, but it's probably just going to go through Maxey and Embiid, and then Melton will be a part of it. But cool. We can go on to this next game here. Charlotte, Miami, still no LaMelo from an injury perspective. No Hayward, no Martin. And then Harrow was out. I think it was an ankle injury, and it's the same one that kept him out. I think it was Monday was their last game, if I remember correctly. So he's had some time, but he's still questionable. So that's kind of one to monitor. I don't know if we'll see a lot of these lines with him starting too. So
yeah, it's a 10.5 point spread, obviously in favor of the Heat. 214 total. So this one could get out of hand.
Yeah, it's I think I'll take a peek. We'll take a peek at these Charlotte lines. But it is it's scary, man. It's just
I was curious to see what Bam was at because I really like Bam in this matchup, but he's at 18, which is just so high based on how he's been playing.
Yeah.
So 18 and a half is it's so crazy to me that they set that line with how he's playing. They must really like the matchup. Like I like the matchup, that's why I looked at him, but 18 and a half, getting a little greedy there, I think.
Yeah, and
Oubre,
then
17 and a half is nice.
yeah,
Had a hot start to the last game they played. I don't remember what he finished with. Some
I like I think it's tough too because I really want to like some of these lines like Kelly and Terry, but just the matchup and what this game could look like is kind of sketchy.
yeah.
Like I like the volume that you're going to see from Terry just with who Charlotte has. Like obviously no Hayward and
You know what I really like? If you can do this, um, maybe not. I was gonna look at first half props. I would
okay.
love to see some first half props
Yeah,
for Rozier and
it's a
Ray.
good pace spot. Yeah, these are the kind of games where we do kind of lean first half, but I think this game is just kind of scary overall. Like, I'm kind of cool to move on to the next one if you want. I think a lot of these heat lines that I typically would look at, especially in this spot and matchup and pace up, are just a little too high. Like even Jimmy up at 23 and a half, where you see him at 22 and a couple other books. You talked about
Yeah,
Bam.
yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
don't.
this is a game where I would either go first half on the props, or I would look at like some fringe like six man, seventh man players that'll get minutes regardless, but have upside to get a lot more minutes. Blowout, right?
Yeah.
But they don't have those guys up. So
Yeah, you got Dennis Smith at 6 flat assists.
like Kelly Oubre on some books at 8.5 points in the first half. He scored that in the last 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Okay,
hate that.
I'm cool to quickly move on to this last game tonight.
Yep.
Um, Portland Pelicans. Can you
Mm-hmm.
give me the latest on some of these injuries for this game? I think
Yep.
Grant and Nurk are supposed to play, but let me know if you're
Yeah.
seeing anything different.
Grant was probable, but downgraded to questionable on Wednesday. Um, Let me look at
And
this.
then obviously Dame's playing.
Yeah,
Um,
honestly, what I'm most worried about or curious about, I should say, is the guards anyway for Portland because I just like attacking the Pelicans guards
yeah,
on these kind of props. Um, and so getting Dame and Anthony against the Pelicans here, I think is a nightmare for the Pelicans guards defense.
yeah,
So I really would be interested to see what they're at.
yeah. Dame's at 25 and a half. I think I definitely would lean. You got Anthony at 19 and a half. I'd probably lean Dame if I was playing something. Um,
Yeah, we don't have a lot of news on those.
yeah.
It's a 6.5 point spread. Pelicans are 6.5 point favorites. Probably the nod to Core Grant being out.
I
Two twenty
mean,
five.
they've been Pels, man.
They've been up and down.
Yeah, for
They were
sure.
hot and then they were cold and they're maybe are they back? They're back maybe. But 225 highest total of the night. Six
Yeah.
and a half point home spread. I think this one could be close. I think this is like probably the most lick your lips kind of game as far as like close and high scoring,
Yeah.
other than maybe Sixers and Hawks too.
Yeah, I do like Sixers Hawks
Um,
too, but yeah.
So I really like Anthony and Dame in this one. I like both of them. Whoever you want. Looks like Anthony's at 19.5 points, which is pretty nice. The value's on the under, but I think that's a pretty decent line. Dame's at 25.5. I like that as well. And then you've got BI at 22.5, Zion at 23.5, and then classic CJ is probably at like 20. Classic three Pelicans all around 20. Um,
Is any part of you looking at some of these assist lines? You got Dame at 6 flat. I do like it, mainly because I really do like this game.
yeah, I do like it at 6 flat. I like BI at 5 flat is nice. I like what I
Mm,
saw to BI at the end of last game. Close game against the Bulls, and he had like I think he had 14 points in the fourth, or he had a really hot stretch at the end, and he's been taking over a bit more. He's clearly healthy from being away from that injury.
yeah.
22.5 points for him. Some books. I like BI in this one. I like his points probably more than his assists. I don't hate the 5 flat, but his assists have been a little less consistent. And then yeah, Dame at 6 flat. it's nice. Does it concern you at all if Grant or Nurk are out? That like he will probably just shoot more.
I think it's just like a good line overall, just for like Dame in general. So I'm not like super worried about that. Also, I'm not anticipating them both being out. I do think it's more likely they both played than are both out. But yeah, I mean, I like Dame scoring too. I mean, there's any you want to take a peek at like PRA or anything? Because I kind of like Dame all around tonight at his lines.
Yeah.
So I wonder how low this PRA is.
Let's look at it. Probably like what, 34.5?
35.5. Yeah. I don't know. Would you just go points?
I just go points. I think Dame's the kind of player where he doesn't cover this if he doesn't.
Right. It's like, just like I think
pass, but it's like he's not going to have like 26 and 11. Like that's he can't. That's way less likely for him.
Yeah, that's true. Like a crazy scoring game, like a 30 and 5 than 26.
Way more likely than 20 and 11 for a Dame. So I like his points the most, probably.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite one in this game. I think it was nice to see. I know that Charlotte game overall is just kind of like a better game, but I feel like this feels similar as from like a total perspective. So it was nice to see decent volume, and I think he'll even shoot more. You know, first 2 games back, what was he? 19 and 26 points, but it was 4 for 12, 8 for 16. Decent 3-point volume. I think we'll see what we saw. Like if you get the Dame volume we saw in like the first 3 games of the season before he got hurt, that's kind of what I expect from him, and I think he just covers so easily, right? Like those first 3 games, 25, 25, 16 shot attempts, and then 13 got hurt. 22 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking at Zion here. 33.5 PRA. I wonder what
he
kind of just carried by points, but maybe less so than like. But
yeah, I feel like he's a little more sporadic from a peripheral perspective.
Yeah, are we getting any Jonas lines?
Yeah, there's a 13.5 points line that I saw at first, but I think
he doesn't have a rebound.
I think he might have disappeared off the site. Too many people were betting unders against Nurk. Cool. I know we kind of
gone.
What's that?
Oh no, they're not. A lot of guys are just gone now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just noticed that. I wonder if there's some injury stuff. So like the books just took them all down or something. But they're still on the player prop sites.
Yeah, another book. I think another book that I'm also on just took down Dame. So.
Dame is out.
He's out.
Nice.
What? Well,
Anthony?
Sweet. Yeah, I mean,
if you can get Anthony, 19.5. That's a slam dunk if you can play that. I think
it's gonna be like 22 now, but I still like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Weird. Well, man, that stinks.
I mean, I'm kind of curious if you can.
Part of this game. This was gonna be a nice game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely on like spookier blowout potential. No Dame.
What'd you see?
I just looked at the NBA daily lineup sheet and Dame was out, and I assume that's why all the lines were taken down on the books. Because that impacts everything. Yeah, I'm not seeing. I probably refresh odds jam and they're probably all down.
Yep, he's out.
Yeah, man, Anthony. I was trying to get him play some Anthony. All right.
Yeah, I think I like Anthony now. Like, no matter what, I don't think his line's gonna be higher than 23. So
yeah, I agree.
It might be.
I could see him being at 23.5. Like I could see that.
Yeah, I could too. But I like that.
It's kind of I want to like give out plays that we like, but I kind of want to wait and see what Anthony's lines are at and look at some of the Portland guys.
Yeah.
Because I think the main stuff we liked in the other game. So Sixers, we both liked the Sixers guards assists.
Yeah.
I like both of them. I think like I personally would probably play Maxey, but I like Melton's 4 flat too. I think they're both good lines. I think Maxey was 6 flat. Then we both liked Trey points. Man, I got Dame up here. We both liked Dame tonight. And then both still like Anthony, though. I still think it's a really good spot.
Yep. Trae Young points. Melton, Maxey assists. Dame and Anthony now points. I don't hate BI points, 22.5 against Portland. I like that a lot.
If this is a blowout, it's the Pelicans, you know. Right. I still think Portland. I think no Dame Portland, if Grant and Nurk play, could keep this a game.
Yeah, for sure.
Pelicans have been pretty inconsistent.
Yeah,
you mentioned so.
And then I like Oubre, man, but I really like his first half. I don't know.
Yeah, he's been shooting a ton. So like it's I don't hate even at his like 17.5 line.
Yeah. Oh, and Embiid rebounds. I like.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we might end up posting some kind of sheet in the Discord later today once like some of these lines get fleshed out. That's the one annoying part of doing these NBA prop streams is stuff like that where Dame is just Dame's out today. Sorry. Yeah. But it's the NBA. It happens. Appreciate you guys. Much love. See you in the next one. Peace out.